Well, details.
For all of that, Bailey with a new stick comes to center with Oposo. Bailey down low, looks for Oposo. In front, Bailey! He's robbed! Rebound Nielsen to Bailey. He pokes at it. He scores! Josh Bailey!
All your New York Islanders news and expert Islanders analysis from the fourth line in Bridgeport to the first line in Long Island. This is the Dump and Chase podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 28 of the Dump and Chase podcast. I am Shane Blackburn. You can follow me, as always, at ShaneBNHL. Alongside me today, Rich Diaz Rodriguez. You could follow him at RDNHL. That's him right there. Michael Wilhoff, who you could still follow at Michael Wilhoff. And unfortunately not with us today is Andy Graziano, who you could follow at Tasman19. We're going to try and bring him in while we're doing the show. There were some difficulties getting him an invite, so we're going to try and get him in here. But as of right now, it is just the three of us with you today. We'll keep it around 45 minutes. And then we'll let you guys go. We know you have important things to do tonight, like I guess watch baseball, but not really. You just listen to us, and that will be your entertainment for the night. We apologize for not doing a show last week, but it was Memorial Day, and we figured not too many people would be listening, and we were all enjoying our relaxation. And none of us really wanted to talk about the Rangers last week. So that's what we're here for this week. Rich, Mike, how you guys doing today?
All right, I'm doing fine. Mikey, how you doing?
Hanging in there, boys. Hanging in there. It's going to be a long couple weeks, I have a feeling.
Listen, you know what the good thing is? Unlike the last 3.5 summers, the World Cup is upon us, so it's going to be a nice lateral move for me, at least. I don't have to think about the fact that the Rangers may very well win a Stanley Cup, and I have to see everybody and their mother's name wear those damn Rangers jerseys in my face on the train everywhere I walk. Forget it.
Thank God we have the World Cup this year.
That's all, yeah.
That's really going to tide me over. Last summer, I just remember it was brutal. I mean, by the time August rolled around, I was ready to kill myself. No sports of which to speak. I mean, baseball is fine and all, but it didn't really do it for me anymore.
Well, I was in the city today, guys, and I was very close to. I was around 21st Street, and I was very close to jumping a cab up to 47th and buying myself a nice Jonathan Quick shirt. But
would have been worthwhile.
I figured I work on 49th most of the weeks, most of the days I go to work. So I figured next time I go to work up on 49th, I'll just take the two block walk rather than a 20 block cab ride.
There you go.
I'll pick up my nice Jonathan Quick, the Real King shirt.
Ooh, strong words.
And go from there. I want to talk about the Islanders, but why do that when we could really just vent about the Rangers being in the finals?
Yeah, so let's let our guard down a little bit, and let's actually, if the listeners who are listening, let's be fans today. Let's be respectful. Let's be intelligent, but let's actually talk. Let's hit on some topics that we all know need to be addressed as Islander fans. And the first thing I want to address is this ridiculous moniker that has been applied to the New York Rangers, and that's the underdog title. I am sick and tired of it. It is absolutely ludicrous. It is absolutely misplaced. It is irresponsible, and it's just not correct. It is an inappropriate title for a team that has the money, the team that has a star goaltender, perhaps one of the greatest goaltenders in the last 15 years since Marty Brodeur, let's put it that way, who single-handedly handed his country gold medals. And look, for me, underdogs, 1980 Miracle Hockey Team, right? The 1986 New York Mets. Let me see, the 1969 New York Mets. I just that title, underdog, that label, has been tossed around way too much, and it's look, Ranger fans, if you want an underdog to root for, come to Uniondale because that's a real underdog team. The New York Islanders are an underdog team. What they did to the Penguins, last season, that's what underdogs do. They surprise you. They scare you. I expect Lundqvist to do well. He's like the greatest goaltender since who knows who. Come on. What do you guys think?
Mike, you want to take this one?
Yeah, Rich, I get 100% where you're coming from. The Rangers aren't your typical scrappy underdog story. They're not the 1980 Miracle on Ice team. They haven't really surprised anyone. I don't want to say they've had an easy road to the finals, but they didn't play the Bruins. They didn't have to wade through the toughest team in the East, the Cup favorite at the time when the bracket came out. They've played a lot of games. I mean, they've fought through some tough series, a couple Game 7s. Lundqvist stands on his head, as he often does. But the odds makers have the Kings installed as heavy favorites. And I think when the line came out and the Kings opened up at minus 165, Rangers right around 125, 130, I think Vigneault saw that and said, this is the storyline for the series. My guys, I need to keep them loose. I need to take the pressure off. We're going to call ourselves underdogs even if we're not, quote-unquote, underdogs like the 1980 Miracle on Ice team, like the Islanders are, like a team that has no business being in the finals might be. The Rangers are a very good team. They do deserve to be there. I don't think it's tough to phrase it, but I don't think they are like a quote-unquote underdog team. They're the underdog according to the lines makers, but they're not. It's tough. I mean,
it's not David and Goliath. It's more like David's older brother and Goliath. I mean,
exactly. They deserve to be there, just like the Kings deserve to be there.
Yeah.
They both, they're both very, very good teams. I don't think they're an underdog the way Vigneault seems to think that they're an underdog.
Let me explain something to Ranger fans who might be listening, and then Shane, please, by all means, jump in. Jesus, I don't want to overtake this, but in 1979, 1980, the Philadelphia Flyers won a record, I believe, 27 games. That was the record that the Blackhawks were chasing last season. So rolling into the Stanley Cup Finals, Pete Peters and the Philadelphia Flyers were heavy favorites against an Islander organization that had never even come close to the Stanley Cup Finals at that moment in time. They had sniffed round 2, round 1, whatever, here and there, scattered about, but they were just emerging. That is an underdog team. Okay? The way they won it, the way they clinched it, and then they turned around and became the dynasty that we haven't seen in New York in quite some time. That for me is what defines an underdog. So in other words, in 82-83, they were no longer underdogs, the Islanders. They were the heavy favorites. They were a great hockey team. So the likes of the Vancouver Canucks and the Minnesota North Stars, those were teams that were considered underdogs, and rightly so. They had no business being there. Maybe the Minnesota North Stars at that point with Dino Ciccarelli. But my point is, I don't like that term being tossed around because what the hell are the Islanders going to be next season when they make it to the Stanley Cup Finals? You tell me that. What are they going to be?
They're going to be super underdogs.
Can I play devil's advocate and throw out they're probably not going to be in the Stanley Cup?
Oh, really?
You're crushing my hopes and dreams here, Shane.
I mean, listen, I'm a diehard Islander fan. Right behind me, I have my St. Patty's Day Brock Nelson jersey and my Brock Nelson jersey right underneath it. So don't get me wrong, but come on. Will they be a playoff contention team?
I was joking. You didn't
I think
that
so.
Seriously.
Let's not step off the ledge here and start praying for a Stanley Cup Finals berth. Now, I agree with Mike. They're not. The Rangers are the underdog in this Stanley Cup Finals series. Do I think they were the underdog all the way through the playoffs? Absolutely not. The series with Philadelphia should never have gone 7 games. Mm-hmm. That series should have been over in 5 max. The series against Pittsburgh, I know most of us were rooting for Pittsburgh, but if anyone thought the Rangers didn't have at least a shot at winning that series, you're insane.
Exactly.
Because the Rangers absolutely had a shot in that series. And the minute Montreal beat Boston, the Rangers had their path to the Cup set because there was no way the Canadiens were beating the Rangers. And I know everyone's going to say, but they beat Boston. it's a different matchup.
It's a different matchup. The Canadiens matched up so well with the Bruins. I don't think the Rangers could have matched up the way the Canadiens did.
Right. The only team that was going to legitimately prevent the Rangers from getting to the finals was Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So the minute Boston was out, the Rangers were no longer underdogs, period, in the Eastern Conference. And they were only underdogs to one team, and that was Boston. So it's not an underdog story. It's not the Colorado Avalanche, who were awful for the past however many years, and this year had a absolute surge. They have most likely the Calder Trophy winner on their team. That's an underdog story. If Colorado would be in the finals, that's an underdog story. Rich, to be more current than your Islanders Philadelphia example, the Kings a couple of years ago being the 8th seed and stomping everyone on their way to the finals, that's an underdog story.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
But the Rangers are most definitely an underdog in this series because looking at this series, this is the first series of the playoffs where I'm saying the Rangers shouldn't win.
But let me explain why I disagree only on one fact. Unlike baseball, if you have a Cy Young candidate, you're only going to see him, maybe twice if you're lucky in a series? Whereas Henrik Lundqvist, you're going to see every game for 60 minutes.
But
Hold on. Let me explain something to you. And Shane, I know you know your history in hockey. If you name all the great teams that have won Stanley Cups, they've always won them with a hot goalie.
Not Chicago.
Wait. No, what are you talking about? You're talking about Crawford is not. Look. Let me just go down.
Crawford is nowhere near the level of goaltender that Lundqvist or Quick are.
But he got hot. That's what I'm saying. Goaltending.
But this is the first series of the playoffs where the Rangers have a legitimate competition at goal. It's the first series where Lundqvist is not the.
Not really. Not according to the numbers. You see, goals against 2.27.
But Quick knows how to win. Quick is like that pitcher whose numbers aren't going to be great, but he knows how to win.
But here's the thing: Lundqvist he may not have played in a Stanley Cup final, but he's played in pressure situations on the world stage. You can equate that.
This is completely different, though. This is you do know. Okay, so the Rangers are built to win a Stanley Cup. Right now they are. This is the best chance they've had in a long time, and I'm not just saying that because they're in the finals, but looking at their team, this is the best chance they've had to win in a long time. But look at, and I know no one wants to make this comparison, but look at LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron James, the first time he played for an NBA Finals, did he pull it off?
No.
Because of the nerves. Warranted, he also didn't have much of a supporting cast with Cleveland.
Well, there you go.
But Lundqvist is going to be in this situation for the first time. This is Lundqvist's shot to silence all of his critics. Silence all the Islander fans, all of us, who say, how can he be called a king if he doesn't have a crown? This is his chance to silence all of us. And it's going to go one of two ways. He's either going to be outstanding, or the nerves are going to get to him. And the problem for the Rangers right now is if the nerves get to him even a little bit, Jonathan Quick will overtake him. Jonathan Quick is a phenomenal goalie, easily top 10 in the NHL, probably top 5 in the NHL. Jonathan Quick is a phenomenal goalie who has been in this situation before, has won in this situation before, and can and will do it again.
Their save percentage is exactly the same. They played almost identical amount of games.
Right. So what's the one differentiating factor?
Because Quick has a cup and
yeah, he's talking about experience. I mean, that run, he got hot at the right time. They were an 8 seed. They came in and they steamrolled. They steamrolled on the back of Quick. That's why it's so shocking to see him this year play as poorly as he had. I mean, his save percentage is right around 900. That's not very good.
Well, that's what I can't call them. I can't call the Rangers an underdog. I think they have the edge with Lundqvist and net.
Right. I'll give you that. They definitely have the edge in net. But I think as far as team speed, as far as scoring, the Rangers are a good defensive team, but I would give the slight edge to the Kings as far as quality of defensemen. Doughty's all world. He's the best.
Doughty's definitely a game breaker for
Yeah,
sure.
so I mean, I really the Rangers are going to have problems scoring. I mean, even though Quick's not playing his best, they're going to have real problems scoring. They have all season. I don't see them winning shootouts. I think Lundqvist is going to have to pitch 2 or 3 shutouts to win them this series.
But
And
he's
you know,
the kind of
he very
goalie-
well, he's very good. You know, he gets hot. You never know. But he's going to have to stand on his head for them to win this series. I just don't see it happening.
But let's look at the 4 teams the Rangers had to pass to get here. They had to pass Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Oh, I'm sorry, 3 teams. Math. Nah.
I'm not a numbers guy.
Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Montreal. Of the 3 of those teams, none of them have a solid defensive core. They each have,
Or you could argue solid goaltending.
but they each have 1 or 2 defensemen who are top-notch defensemen, but none of them are a good defensive team. Montreal wins by scoring. Pittsburgh wins by scoring. Philadelphia had no business being in the playoffs.
Okay, but why don't you compare those 3 teams with the 3 teams that the Kings beat?
But look at what I'm saying. You see who the Rangers had beat to get here, which was pretty much no competition to them. They should have rolled through all 3 of those series easily.
Mm-hmm.
Now you come up against a team. You're in the finals now. You had a pretty, you went 7 games, but you had easy defensive teams to play against, and now all of a sudden you're playing one of the best defensive teams in the league. LA, the Rangers had to have been praying for Chicago to win, because Chicago was a much better matchup for the Rangers than LA is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Chicago has Kane and Taves and Sharp and Hossa, and they have this firepower, but the Rangers took care of firepower in Pittsburgh with Crosby and Malkin. Playing against firepower isn't a problem for the Rangers. Playing against a shutdown team like the Kings is the problem for the Rangers.
So key matchup is for me, and I mentioned this off air, which is Dustin Brown versus McDonough, right? So like,
but I don't even think I don't even think so though, Rich, because you have to look at that 70s line.
okay.
Who is going to match up against Carter? Who is it? Carter,
Toffoli
Pearson, and
Pearson.
Toffoli.
Yeah.
That's the thing for me. The Kings are so deep. The Rangers have trouble scoring. The Kings can roll, all 4 of their lines and they can all score. I think the biggest matchup problem for the Rangers is Kopitar, and to a lesser degree, Gaborik. And that's fine. They'll see a lot of McDonough. They'll see a lot of Girardi. But those guys find ways to score. Kopitar's stats are unbelievable. He's my pick for the Selke. He was before the playoffs. He just gets it done.
See, another reason why I don't like the underdog title is because I thought that Girardi and McDonough have played absolutely out of their minds.
Right.
But you're taking underdog in a different context than I think it's being used.
But I think the people using it are taking it out of the context.
Yes.
And I think that's part of the Rangers' MO. That's what Vigneault wants. He wants them to go into game 1 and be like, you know what? No one's giving us a shot against this team that's won the cup, and everybody's picking to win.
Yeah, even though we beat them twice this season.
Yeah, even though we beat them twice, and we play a very defensive game, so we maybe slow them down a little bit. He wants them to go in thinking like nobody in this world believes in us except the guys in this room right here, and that's how he's going to rally the troops. That's how they're going to get their motivation for this series.
The press and AV, Rich, are taking the underdog title in the same way you're explaining it to us, and I agree with you on that that's not right. Yes, they're the underdog in this situation, but they're not an underdog story. You're not going to make a documentary about the Rangers of this year, although you might with St. Louis and Dominic Moore.
Those guys, personally, Sekiro.
It kills me so much that the 2 of them are on this team, because I would love to root for them.
Absolutely.
I would absolutely love to root for Dominic Moore.
And his story is absolutely tragic, and I'm going to put him aside politely to the right, and I'm going to put Marty St. Louis to the right, and Ricky Nash because I like him, but the rest of the Rangers, and Lundqvist, and the rest of the Ranger team.
Is there anybody left?
No. I hope the Los Angeles Kings destroy them, and destroy them resoundingly. And I want all the jerseys and hats and all these closet Ranger fans to go away and stay away for another 20 years.
Okay, we're gonna end the Ranger conversation right here before we come back to it a little later, because we do have to talk about Carcillo. But right here, I'm gonna end the Ranger conversation, and we're gonna get into the Islanders for a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But last year, when the Islanders made their run and were in the playoffs, there were Islander fans who came out of the woodwork the same way the Ranger fans are coming out of the woodwork.
And I embraced them with all my heart.
Absolutely not. And I'm just making it very clear to anyone listening who may be a Ranger fan. I was just as mad at the fake Islander fans last season as I am at the fake Ranger fans this season.
Listen, Ranger fans, you turn to your left, you turn to your right. They might be former Islander fans sitting next
but
to you.
I am making that very clear that I don't just hate Ranger bandwagoners. I hate bandwagon fans, period. And with that, sign me up for the LA Kings bandwagon and let me hate myself. But now, let's jump into the Islanders a little bit. And Mike, congratulations are due to you in finishing up with your Masters.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be done. That's what it's about. I'm just glad to be done.
And for those of you who don't know, I finally, after 6 years of fiddling my way through undergrad, I finished my bachelor's degree in communications.
Yes.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Shane.
Thank you, guys. And I bring this up because 2 of the New York Islanders have graduated. And that is Anders Lee and Kevin Churchman. They have both graduated from college, so that means they are officially done with their schooling. They are college grads, and most likely one will be an NHLer next year, and one will be an AHLer next year. But they are done. Their scholastic duties are behind them, and now they could focus solely on being the player the Islanders hope they can be. I believe Churchman will be the AHLer, if that wasn't obvious already. And Lee will be the NHLer next year. It'll be interesting to see how they both do. I actually have my report card on Churchman coming out in a couple of days. I gotta get on that.
That's all right. You got time. And one thing I will say about the graduation, I saw a picture of Lee getting his diploma. You know, the token shot where you go to shake the chancellor's hand, you take the diploma. I'm just glad to see that he looked as goofy in the stupid cap and gown as I did when I was walking across the stage, because those things are atrocious. Those are from what, the 1600s? Can we get rid of those, please? Not that it matters. I'm not going back to school, but still.
I didn't even want to wear it. I was like, I'm just gonna show up in like a Hawaiian shirt and shorts. How's that?
You should have, man.
I wanted to put on my cap. I wanted to decorate it with gold letters, and I wanted to write "Game of Loans."
That is so true.
I just wasn't patient enough to do it.
I mean, it's a lot of work.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, it was way too much work for not enough gratification.
You don't even remember 2/3 of what it is that was taught. So
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be lucky if I remember a third of it, Rich. But
that would be the other third of the 2/3 that I just mentioned.
See, you learned something.
You know what, Rich? I was a comm major. That means math. I stopped taking math after like my second semester of college. So let's give you a break.
All right.
I can give change at Sears, and that's about as far as my math goes.
Practical.
Exactly, practical math. That's all you need. Now, the Islanders also announced the signing of Jesse Graham to his 3-year entry-level contract. So, just a little note to hit on. And then finally, because we have not had a chance on the podcast to talk about this yet.
Halak?
Yaroslav Halak.
Oh my God, we haven't talked about this?
No, we haven't.
We haven't had a podcast since.
Holy hell.
So, we have to talk about it, guys.
I think it's time. Shane, start us off.
I have to admit, I was not near my phone when this happened. I saw it a little bit after, and I almost cried. I was shocked, first of all, because I didn't think it was going to happen this quickly. I thought if it happened, it would be closer to the draft, and just like everything the Islanders do, they would keep their fans in that suspension and waiting and being terrified that it wouldn't happen. And I saw on my phone that they signed him, and I went nuts. And people were looking at me like I was crazy because I was not in an environment that I should have been going nuts. But I went nuts, and I was so happy because I think this shows a couple of things. One, it doesn't show this, but one, Halak is going to be a phenomenal goalie on the island. He finally has his chance to be a true number one, and I think he's going to grab it by the horns, and he's going to perform, and he's going to help this team be the best that they could be. But it shows that Garth is ready to get things done, and he's ready to get them done now. I think this sends a message to the rest of the league that we are going to be in a bidding war for other top free agents if we feel we need them on our roster. I also think it shows that Garth is not going to be afraid to move assets. I think what this shows is Garth is putting his money where his mouth is now, and he's ready to make things happen to make this team better, make them competitive, and bring them back to the playoffs. So I, for one, am extremely excited for not just having a legitimate number one goaltender who's not going to give up high short side goals every 4 seconds, but also for what signing Halak means for the future and the prospect of what can come after this now, because the main concern, the main need is done. Now the secondary stuff, now instead of signing him close to the draft and limiting our options for everything else, now the main concern is done. Now we have plenty of time to worry about the secondary problems that this team has and really make a difference.
Yeah, Rich, I'll go real quick. Shane, you said Garth is putting his money where his mouth is. I think this is exactly what had to happen considering the way the Vanek deal went down. He put his money where his mouth is to get him on the island, and when he couldn't get the return at the deadline, it kind of bombed. And now for him to make this move and say, we've addressed our most glaring weakness on this team, Islanders finished dead last in save percentage. They now have a career .918 guy, .238 goals against. He is, and I hate this word, he is an elite goaltender. And the Islanders haven't had this in so long. And Shane, I'm with you. When that news broke, I didn't know what to do. It was a weird feeling knowing that you have a true number one goalie on the island for the first time in so long. That, I mean, it's exciting. And like you said, they addressed their most glaring weakness. They can now focus on the secondary, the nice-to-haves, and kind of build their team that way. And Halak came out right afterwards and said they have a good thing going there. They have a lot of young players, a lot of young talent. And I almost get the sense that he feels at home now, even though he hasn't even, gotten together with the team. So I think this is the perfect scenario, well ahead of the draft, to kind of get that squared away and get the fans excited, going into the draft for once.
I have to say that I was very happy and very relieved after everything that's happened to the Islanders this season. It's one of those high notes, if you will, right? The silver lining of the season. I was relieved and assured that this is not going to be a quiet summer for Garth Snow. The question still remains as to what we see as a secondary option for goaltending this season. Is it going to be Navi? Is it going to be Poulin out at Nilsson's gone to the KHL? So those questions can be answered later. There's no rush right now. I agree that we haven't seen a goaltender. We haven't had a goaltender that could give us this much excitement since the DiPietro before the 10-year, before the contract.
Right, off his Olympic.
Yeah, off his Olympic run.
Team USA, yeah.
So it makes me feel a little bit better about the future. I don't know if you remember, guys. Right around the time that there was rumor that he was going to sign, the Barclays tipped the Islanders' hand. Remember we talked about this on Twitter? They were in talks, and then
yeah, didn't they put out a release like meet Halak at the preseason game? You got to sign him first.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of felt good about it, but it's good. It's good that he's coming. Shane, if you don't mind me asking, just veering off the topic just slightly. You mentioned free agents, etc. Can we talk about 3 free agents that I'm interested in talking about, that I think you guys may be interested in talking about? Is that okay?
No, because you didn't bring it to us in an email before the show.
Right, you need to address these things up front. I can't just do it on the fly.
I did, actually.
Yes, you can, but can you give me 2 seconds before you do?
Yes.
Okay, so the Maple Leafs signed, don't hate me if I pronounce his name wrong, Bibeau, the goalie from, what school did he play for? Not school, he was in the QM. Who did he play for? He played for the team that was in the Memorial Cup final. What was it, Valdor?
Yep.
Does signing him say Reimer's gone?
Yeah, I thought that was already a given, no?
Is it a given?
I don't know if it's. I mean, his value's so low right now. I mean, they are kind of shuffling him out the door, but I think it's like the Islanders picking up McAdam or any one of the major junior guys. They always need depth, right? You got to have your guys in the system. God forbid an injury happens. You can't be without a goalie. But I mean, that is a good point. They are kind of pushing him out the door, and this does kind of look like he's well on his way out.
So it's gonna be an interesting revolving door of goalies, I think, this offseason. We'll see what the Islanders do for the backup position to Halak, but I think Halak is pretty much sealed as the number one. But Rich, let's hear what you got for these three free agents.
Stamkos, Vanek, and Molson.
Okay, no, maybe, and no.
No, maybe, and no.
Yes, no.
In terms of realistic shot at getting them.
In terms of realistic shot, no to Stamkos, maybe to Vanek, no to Molson.
Do you think Vanek comes back? Do you think he tries?
I definitely think he tries. If he's not on the phone with Garth or he hasn't been already, then his agent's not doing his job. I guarantee he's calling up Garth. I know we turned you down, but do you still have that money available? I know. No, you don't? Okay. It's going to be a reduced price, but yeah, I think he could come back.
I think he's the most probable out of the three. Stamkos doesn't happen. There's almost no way Stamkos comes to the Islanders.
Just tell me why. I honestly, I don't know why. I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Why not?
Solely because I don't think he leaves Tampa Bay.
Really?
Yes. I think he is the kind of person and player who is going to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And if he leaves, I think he's the kind of player who only leaves to a legitimate next 2 years cup contender. Not playoff, not young and upcoming. I think he leaves to a cup contender. I think he leaves to a Boston.
What about joining Marty St. Louis and the Rangers?
I left them out because if that happens, I will burn Madison Square Garden. But
remember that time Shane committed arson?
The Dump and Chase podcast live from Rikers Island. But and I think Molson is so perturbed with the Islanders at the way he was handled that I don't think there is a shot we re-sign Matt Molson. And I also agree with everyone on the New York Islanders hardcore Facebook page that agrees with me and says we just need to get past the Molson saga. It's done. Yes, he was a fan favorite. Yes, we all loved him, but there are much better and bigger fish out there to grab and let it go.
Okay, and then the last one is Reimer, since we already mentioned him. That's a possibility, guys. What do you think?
One too. Very nice one too in net.
It's a definite possibility. But again, and guys, just by watching him over the past month or so, my number one free agent is still Matt Green.
Oh Lord, yes, we know. Yeah, I like him too.
Hate. Matt Green is that kind of defenseman who could play number 4, number 5 defensive minutes and really help these young kids develop into NHL defensemen. Now, he could be, okay, you know who he could be? He could be Matt Carkner, except good.
If you're putting it lightly, I got to write his report card tomorrow. Maybe I use that.
Matt Green could be the next Carkner.
That's exactly who he reminds me of. He's the big, prototypical lumbering defenseman who, if they weren't calling interference like they are, and I was watching the 94 Game 7 on TV earlier today.
I couldn't do it.
I watched for about 10 minutes. I hate myself for it, but it's so funny to watch 94. The guy would go to dump the puck in, and Bukaboom would wrap him up and put him in the boards. And you can't do that today. But if Green was
playing hockey there,
yeah, back when they let you play hockey, and you couldn't gain the zone if you tried to dump it. You were basically giving up.
You're giving up.
Then it was kind of cool to see. But yeah, Green is that lockdown guy, and if you're going into his corner, man, watch out. You're gonna pay for it.
Man, that New York Oilers team was something else, wasn't it?
They were pretty filthy, man. Graves, Messier, Kovalev on the top line. I forgot how good they were.
I mean, like, The New York Oilers. They were something else. Too bad they only lasted 1 year, 1 season. But.
Do you guys think that there's any way to get a Goring Kings jersey to wear for the next couple of weeks?
I mean,
You should ask him on Twitter, see if he's got an old one lying around.
I want him. Oh, that's it. I'm doing it. I'm gonna do it right now while we're on air. I'm gonna tweet him that he has to make his avatar on Twitter him in a picture of him in his Kings jersey.
I hope. Can we hope that the Kings play in their purple and yellows, please?
Those are the greatest jerseys.
Those are
we
classic.
have. But
all Lakers on them.
go legit LA colors. But now I have a couple of questions for you two guys, and I'm going to ask Andy this too. I'll ask him next week when we get him on the air, since we couldn't get him on today. We're still not really sure what happened. But draft party. Is anyone going?
World Cup, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be at the Coliseum. If we get credentialed, we go to Philadelphia.
Oh yeah,
I would do that. But if not, I'll be at a bar somewhere watching the World Cup.
Okay.
They're not going to draft Tavares this year, so I don't really need to be around for that.
Now, June 6th at 10 a.m., tickets go on sale for an Islanders preseason game on October 3rd in Bridgeport.
I tweeted that out the other day. Yeah, I might go.
I think we should go.
Yeah, you guys want to go?
I think I'll go. I want to check out Bridgeport.
Oh, it's a real. I like the rink.
The rink is nice. It's outside. That's not so nice.
Hey, boy, you just got to make sure you get inside quick.
That's the thing, right from the train.
I think we should do a Islanders Insight Dump and Chase podcast meetup, and fans should come and hang out with us.
I'm down with that.
I am just throwing that out there, but let's do it.
All right.
And finally, we forgot to mention that Ville Polka also signed his 3-year entry-level contract. So the Islanders are making some off-season moves.
I had something for this. Wait. I had something for this.
Oh, God.
Oh, Lord. What did
Oh, no, it's a bad pun.
Find the mute button. It's going to be a bad pun.
Keep talking. I'll get to it.
Vamp.
No, I don't want to keep talking. I want to make it awkward, so you have to try and figure out what you wanted to talk about.
Oh, man. See, it's all in the timing.
Yeah, we are finding that out now. I thought you were playing around. I thought you had it queued up.
I thought I did too. Oh, well, never mind. Like I said, let's continue. I'll just throw it in there random. Okay, let it go.
You suck.
Wipe the dribble away from your bubbling lips. Rub Vaseline all over your hiney and tell you that it's special and different from everyone else. You said hiney. Get back over here. Hiney. Does she tuck you in, Ronnie? Give you a little kiss on your forehead.
It's the best I could do, but...
Tell you everything's going to be okay.
Rich, are you sure you're the oldest one in this podcast?
Going to end right here.
Just listen.
Right now. Let's dance, dickweed. Want to dance, Ronnie? I want polka.
That's what I want you to know.
Really?
I was like, where is he going? Oh, okay.
Oh, God, Rich.
I want a polka. Oh, hell no. That was the timing, but it wasn't the...
I think it was the execution more than the actual joke.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. I'm just so depressed that we have to watch the Rangers in the finals.
Well, before we go, let's make our predictions, yes?
Hold on. Because before the predictions, we have to do this. So hold on. Hold your damn horses.
The Dump and Chase podcast is in no way affiliated with the New York Islanders, Bridgeport Sound Tigers, or the National Hockey League. The views expressed by the host, panel, and guests are their own.
Especially with the things we've been saying today, we had to make sure we get that disclaimer out there. So now let's make our predictions. We'll start with We'll start with Rich, because he seems to be the most agitated at the fact that the Rangers are in the finals.
Oh, yeah. The Kings in 3.
That's impossible, Rich. That's
No,
not...
they mercy rule them.
Yeah, exactly. No, the Kings in 6.
Mike?
I'll say the Kings in 5. I think the Rangers win game 1, and then the Kings wake up, and the Rangers have a tough time scoring. I mean, Quick isn't playing phenomenal, but can play well enough behind that offense. Kings in 5.
Okay. Do you guys want my hockey fan podcast analyzation answer or my Islander fan answer?
Both.
Okay.
They're the same answer.
No, they're not.
Lies.
My podcast answer, my hockey answer, my looking at this as an objective hockey fan, and my answer is Kings in 6.
There you go.
But my Islander fan answer is Rangers in 4, because all Islander fans listening to this know the Rangers are going to win the Stanley Cup, because that's just how the Islander fans' lives work. The Rangers are going to win solely on the fact that it would drive all of us insane. And that's why the Rangers are going to win the Cup. The Rangers have that going for them, that if they win, Islander fans would be miserable for a year, and that's why they're going to win. That's how my life works. I'm sure that's how both of your lives work.
It's a cruel life we live.
As Islander fans, the way things work is Murphy's. It should just be called Islanders Law. No more Murphy's Law.
Mm-hmm.
If some crappy shit is going to happen, it's going to happen to us.
It makes it stronger. It just makes it stronger. It just strengthens our resolve. That's all.
The Rangers are going to win the Cup because it would drive all of us insane. And I actually have a bet with one of my best friends that if the Rangers win the Cup, I will change my Twitter avatar to me in a Ranger jersey, and I will go to the parade.
Seems like cruel and unusual punishment.
And if the Kings win, we have to go to a bar in the city with him in a Kings jersey.
That's it?
That's dangerous. I feel much safer going to the parade in a Ranger jersey than bringing him the day after the Kings win the Cup to a bar in the city in a Kings jersey.
Good point. A lot of sad people drinking in that bar.
I'm just gonna be embarrassed. He might get hit with a beer bottle. So I think I have the unfair advantage in this one.
You don't have to worry about it. Don't worry. The Rangers aren't going to do much.
So if
they're underdogs, remember?
Oh right, yes, I forget they're underdogs. Although I do have to say they do have the St. Louis Dominic Moore storylines working for them. So
and they are very touching and very.
So yeah, so don't count them out.
No, we can count them out. But...
And like you said, Rich, I hate that both of them play for the Rangers because I would absolutely love to root for both of them. My number was 26 when I played because I love Marty St. Louis, so it kills me to have to root against him.
It'll be easy after the first period.
All right, guys, so that was episode number 28 of the Dump and Chase podcast. Michael Wilhoff, who you could still follow at Michael Wilhoff. Is there anything you would like to plug before we get out of here?
Just the usual, Shane. Everybody, thanks for the support. We appreciate the reads and the listens. Keep up with us at IslandersInsight.com. We have our report card series continuing all month. We'll take a look at everybody on the roster, so be sure to check that out.
Rich Diaz Rodriguez, you can follow him at RDNHL. Is there anything you'd like to plug?
Yes, I'd like to say that Carcillo should have gotten the entire Stanley Cup series completely suspended. He should not be back. I'd like to say that they dropped the ball on that. B, I want to say hello to all our fans, and to Andy, I'm sorry you couldn't make it. We missed you, but we'll catch you next week, okay?
And I am Shane Blackburn. You could follow me at ShaneBNHL. Andy, I apologize we could not get you on this week, but obviously the four of us will be back next week, most likely on Monday. We'll see how it plays out. If any of the Stanley Cup final games are on a Monday night, we will not do the show that Monday because who's going to be listening, let's be honest. We'll do it another night so you guys could listen to us and we could vent about the Monday night game. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you check out the dumpandchasepodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter. Make sure that you check out IslandersInsight.com. And don't worry, I just got a Twitter notification asking about the phone case. I will post a picture of it, and I will let you know how you could order them. Maybe they'll hook us up, and we'll hook you up with some free gifts. You never know. You guys listening to the Dump and Chase podcast, I'm Shane Blackburn. Until next week, let's go Kings.
Absolutely. We good? Hello?
Yeah, we're still here.
All right.
At least I am.
There
And
we
that's the show, boys and girls and listeners. And
go. We didn't talk about Carcillo.
we didn't talk about Carcillo.
I was gonna read it real quick, but I mean, so basically, Rich, what they said was they gave him the 10 game, citing Rule 40.4.